Hey guys, this is Greg with Medical Muscle. In this video, I want to talk about how you get into medical school. Okay, and I'm going to share with you a lot of the tips that I learned and the things that I wish I knew before getting into this process. Okay, there's a lot of things that people won't talk about or that are not emphasized enough. Okay, so that's what I'm going to share in this video. This is geared more toward like someone who's in high school or in undergrad who's trying to figure out what they want to do. Okay, so first off, one of the biggest advantages you can do, and this is hard to do, is go to a college that has an associated medical school where there's a track that allows, that gives an advantage to college students of that college to get into the medical school there. Not all colleges have this. Some don't even have this track, even if there is an association. But if there is, that's a huge advantage, okay? It may still be very competitive, but any advantage is important. You have to take advantage of all of them. But most of you won't have that situation. So before anything, when you start classes in college, you want to set up your schedule correctly, right? So you have a lot of prerequisites that are required of the college, right? But that are also required to get into medical school. And this is twofold, right? There's requirements to get into medical school. They want you to take certain classes. And the reason they want you to take these classes is because the MCAT, the exam that is required to get into medical school, will be testing you on this same subject matter. And then when you get into medical school, you'll see the same subject matter again, but in a more complex environment, okay? So definitely talk to a counselor, get onto the pre-med track immediately. Also, take the initiative to look at what medical schools want from you, okay? Because sometimes there's some differences. So make sure that you get all those classes. For sure, you're gonna get biology. For sure, you're gonna get 2 levels of physics, 2 levels of gen chem, 2 levels of organic chemistry, microbiology, biochemistry, human physiology, human anatomy, those kind of classes. I know there's some variation, there might be some changes in how many levels of physics you need, but that was the requirement for me at my level, okay? And you need to get A's in all those classes. You need to get A's in all your classes, but definitely in your STEM classes, 100%, because you have to have a high GPA as just a threshold to get into certain medical schools. Some won't even consider people under, like, say, a 3.5. They won't even consider you, even if you're a great applicant and you would do well in their medical school. There's just certain cutoffs that some schools have. So you need to get good grades from the beginning, okay? But in the STEM classes, you need to do well because you need to have the GPA, but also these classes will help you tremendously on the MCAT, okay? I was first in my class. Please don't take this as bragging, but I was first in my class in organic chemistry, and it made it so much easier when I took the MCAT. That section, the math section, the chemistry section was easy, okay? It's a hard exam, okay? But you need to make these sections your strengths, okay? And chemistry, biochemistry, very important, okay? I think during that time in school, I wish I did this. Learn a language, okay? Specifically Spanish, because across the board, that's probably one of the most useful, but depending on your environment where you want to work, there may be some language that is always in need of people who are bilingual, okay? So make sure to learn another language. It sets you apart, especially if you're proficient, and you can, show it off. It's great, okay? It makes you really stand out. It makes you very valuable. All right, so that's your time in school. You have to get A's, all that stuff. Now, outside of class, we have extracurriculars. So this is where I wish I knew more about this. I would say, for the most part, do extracurriculars that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, and that you could do well in, okay? But what they are specifically, I don't think matters that much. Okay. I would say I would definitely emphasize on teamwork, things that include more like people where you have to work together. That would be ideal. Solo activities, I don't think looks as impressive as being, say, like say you just play an instrument by yourself. You're just really good at violin. I think it would be more impressive that you play violin in a band, okay, and you guys meet up and play around or whatever. That's cool. It's a cool thing to talk about, right? And it shows that you have teamwork skills. Sports obviously are a great thing to add. It shows that you can balance having good grades and have this other commitment. Usually sports, doesn't matter what the sport is. Team sports would be probably better than anything. Football, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, bowling. Bowling's still a team sport. Probably better than I don't know, marathon running or something like that, But any sport would be great. I think it just shows that you have dedication to something. I would also add on top of that some scholastic hobby. Okay, so you have your athletic hobbies, you have your, artistic hobbies like violin or art or something like that. I think having a scholastic hobby would be ideal. Okay, so for me, I TA'd anatomy. That was something that I was interested in. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be involved in the anatomy lab. That might not be the best thing, but that's what I wanted to do. You could do many different things, okay? You can get involved with research. I really suggest that one. Get into research that you're actually interested in, though, because it'll show and it makes it more enjoyable, okay? So, if you can get into a lab that's going to publish some of their research, then that is the most ideal. But, it could also be in a social science. You're doing interviews with students or with people out in the population. That's, really good too. So definitely throw some of those in. Obviously, volunteering, okay, as an extracurricular is huge. You pick what you want to do. Just volunteer in something that you actually enjoy. For me, I had a unique situation because I was a certified personal trainer. I trained autistic adults. There was a community in my town, and I just went to their director and I said, hey, what do you think about me doing group training sessions for people in this community? Because I had trained a few of them at the gym that I was working at, and I thought, okay, I'll just offer this to their whole group. And the director was like, very happy that I could do this. And it ended up being a great experience and something that I've always been able to talk about in interviews and, in going into medical school or in residency. Okay. So just something to consider. It's got to be something that you're passionate about. Should be easy. Okay. You like beach cleanups? Go do beach cleanups. It's great. Okay. So clinical exposure. Okay. This is pretty powerful. And I'm going to say not just for your application, but for you personally, because medicine is a huge commitment. It's a huge decision. So if you have clinical exposure early, you get a good idea. Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to spend, 4 years of medical school and then at least 3 to 4 years of residency on top of that, and then continue this journey for the rest of your life? Do you really want to do this? Okay. So I think shadowing obviously is a huge benefit to you. I wish I shadowed more than one type of doctor. I picked someone who I kind of knew, and it was convenient to go visit their office because it was close. It's not in the specialty that I ended up picking for residency, but I wish that I had maybe shadowed other specialties. I would say at least 2. It would look great if you shadowed 3 different specialties, like say, make sure they're vastly different, like family medicine, some kind of surgical specialty like, general surgery or OBGYN, and then maybe psychiatry or emergency medicine. Those are all very different, and it shows that you've kind of had an interest and you've kind of exposed yourself to this. But if you can only get one, that's fine. You have to shadow too, because you need a letter of recommendation, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. You could also be a scribe. I have friends who did that. I've never done that, but you could be a scribe. You're writing the notes for a clinic or an emergency room, and just getting that exposure that way. You can see how doctors work, and that's good for you and for medical schools to see that you are putting in that kind of effort. Okay, so you have to take the MCAT. Usually it takes people between 3 and 6 months of studying. And for you to not have a gap year, you basically have to start studying for the MCAT while you are in college. That's what I ended up doing too. It was very tough, but here's a tip. If you are taking biochemistry, so you gotta take the MCAT before and get the score back before the application day is open to medical schools, starting in the early part of June. So you have to usually it takes a couple weeks, so maybe you have to take the exam for sure by like early May. For sure, you have to take the MCAT. I think I took it somewhere around there, maybe April. I think I took it in April when I took it. Now, the benefit of taking these STEM classes like organic chemistry, biochemistry, is that technically you're kind of studying for the exam anyway. I was taking the second level of organic chemistry and biochemistry at the same time as I was studying for the MCAT. So I really didn't have to study that material because I was in the class, right? And that's why I think I did so well in that section. Okay, so, you don't have to study directly for certain things if you're taking those classes. I would say get the bulk of them out of the way before you attempt to take the MCAT. I wouldn't take the MCAT if you have not even seen some of the material. That would be very dangerous. You can do it, but I would suggest not doing that. Okay, get formally trained first and then do your review stuff. Okay, I would suggest getting some kind of study plan or tutor for the MCAT. That's what I did. I know students that who did well, but I think in general, it's good to get a study plan to get organized in what kind of material you should be covering each day and when you have to take these mock exams, okay? I gotta say, the combination of studying for the MCAT and getting A's in class is kind of a tough thing. But again, you're studying for the MCAT, which is the same material like you're studying biochemistry and organic chemistry and gen chem. And, if you're taking those classes at the same time, then, it's reciprocal. So you learn a lot, okay? And it actually helps each. I think that's why I did well in these classes. Okay, so let's talk about AMCAS, your medical school application. Generally, it opens the first week in May. You can start adding things to the application, and then early June, it's submitted. It is open for submission to medical schools. You want to be submitting everything on the first day. Students who can do this are showing medical schools that they're organized, that they're timely, they can get everything in. If you're delayed on this, you're going to be missing out on the first round of interview options, right? They're going to be submitting these things out. So you want to be out there the very first day, okay? All right, now, for the application, the thing that takes the most amount of time is your letters of rec. So you can get those from teachers in difficult classes, like so say biochemistry or organic chemistry. Those are good ones. Gen Chem can be okay. I probably wouldn't do that one. Maybe biochemistry, organic chemistry, or microbiology. Those are closer to medicine. I would get teachers that you had aced their class and you had a good connection with. And you need both of those, because getting a letter from someone you don't really know, it won't be personalized, okay? So make sure that you put this effort into having a good connection with the professor. If you don't, then don't use them, right? Or it might not just be as good of a letter. Here's my second tip. Get more letters than you need. I think you can, maybe it's like 5 letters. You can have up to 5. Get 6. Get 7. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. People are either going to be behind in getting you letters, or they're going to forget, or they're going to be late, whatever, and then you're going to miss that timeline when you can submit this stuff. So ask for more than you need, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. Okay. Start working on your personal statement early. I would say the beginning of that year, right? So you have submissions in June 1st. Start working on your letter, your personal statement, like January of that year, okay? So that you have a few months to start working on this. It takes many months because you're gonna work on it a little bit, maybe 15 minutes on a weekend, and then add to it, and then delete a lot of it, and then rewrite it, and then delete it, and then rewrite, and keep it. There's so many versions that you gotta go through, right? You gotta have many people look at it. You have to have many doctors look at it. Professors, you got to get tons of eyes to make sure that it looks good. Maybe not tons, because you don't want too many inputs. You want good inputs, okay? I know AI is a really big thing, ChatGPT. I think it's useful to get initial ideas on paper just to get an idea of how to start this thing, but do not submit a ChatGPT type letter, personal statement. It is not genuine. It's actually going to be the worst, okay? You're going to be able to produce a better letter than ChatGPT will ever be able to produce, because you can personalize it to yourself. Use it as a tool to kind of help you get started, but definitely make sure that you're writing this on your own, because it's you. And you're going to have to talk about this stuff when you get into interviews. And when people read it, I think people realize, is this really genuine? Okay. And personal statements can be very tough. So yes, you're going to need a lot of time to keep re-evaluating this thing. Okay. Guys, I really wish you the best of luck in your journey into becoming a doctor. This is just the entry into medical school. There's a lot more things that you could be doing that I maybe didn't cover. But these are like the big hitters. And then when you get into medical school, you'll understand the second half. Okay, so I wish you guys the best of luck. Please like and subscribe to this video, and stay updated for more great content. All right, guys.